Hi guys, and welcome back to Echo. Now this week, our weekly prayer theme is inclusion. Now inclusion just means to be included. To be included in the games we play on the playground, or to be included in the activities we do in class, to be included in the school trips, to be included in the football team. And most of all, one thing we all want, one thing we all strive for, is to be included in God's love. That when God says, I love you, He's speaking to all of us and not just some of us. When God says, you are my precious ones, you are my loved ones, you are my little ones, He's not just talking to some of us, He's talking to all of us. Now, on Monday this week, we celebrate a really special feast day for a man called Matthew. Now, lots of us will have heard of Matthew because he wrote one of the 4 Gospels. And he was also one of Jesus' best friends. He was one of the disciples, one of the apostles. Now Matthew has quite an interesting story for how he started out. Because actually, Matthew was someone who wasn't included in a lot of things. See, he worked as a tax collector, so he worked for the Romans. But the Romans didn't like him and didn't include him in anything because he was a Jewish man. Because he was Jewish, he wasn't included. But on the other side, the Jewish people didn't like Matthew either, because he worked for the Romans. So on both sides of his life, he feels outcast, he feels alone, and he's not being included. And all he has to comfort him is the money that he collects, and the power that he is given by his job and by his status. But when all you have is money and a reputation, you don't feel a lot of love. And yet if we read Matthew's Gospel, if we read that story, the story is actually called The Calling of Matthew. This is a really important story because it shows that Jesus doesn't always pick the people we expect him to. He doesn't pick the popular kids, he doesn't pick the ones who are always doing well, or the ones who are always doing the right thing. He doesn't even pick the cleverest, and he doesn't pick the most well-behaved. Sometimes he picks the ones on the outside, the ones who maybe make more mistakes than the rest of us. And Jesus approached Matthew, and all he said was, Matthew, follow me. He just said his name and said, follow me. And according to the story, that's all it took for Matthew to stand up, leave his table of money and power and respect and all of this, and he left it and went and followed Jesus. Now everyone was obviously up in arms, like, why are you picking this man? He's a tax collector, like, he works for the Romans. He's like the lowest of the low. He's rubbish. But Jesus said, no. Matthew, follow me. See, he wanted Matthew to be part of something bigger. And he knew that Matthew inside was a good man, and that no one had given him a chance. And I wonder, what kind of faith must Jesus have pulled to make Matthew walk that way? You see, a look is really powerful, isn't it? The way we look at someone can affect their mood completely. If you smile at someone, they're likely to smile back. If you frown at someone, they might look a little bit scared or a little bit concerned as to, why are they frowning at me? Everything about our face. Our faces can often change the way someone feels. But when Jesus looked at Matthew, his face said 3 words. Matthew, follow me. Which could easily be translated to, I love you. I want you to be part of this. I want better for you. obviously what Jesus did that day was he looked at Matthew and saw the greatness inside him and the brilliance inside him, and not the stuff that everyone else saw, the mistakes or the job or the things he had to do to get by. He didn't see the rubbish. When Jesus looks at Matthew, all he sees is the beauty and the brilliance and the fantasticness. So what we're going to do today is we're going to sit and think a bit about, how does Jesus look at me? What does Jesus see when he looks at me and he looks at you? So, somewhere on your person, there will be one of these sheets. There's a nice little person in it, and it says, when Jesus looks at me. And what I'd like you to do is, with that little person, I'd like you to draw a self-portrait. Now what this is just a drawing of you. So I want you to turn this person into you. So what are they wearing? Are you wearing your school uniform? Are you wearing your favourite football team's shirt? Are you wearing something a bit cool and trendy? You know, what are you wearing, first of all? And I want you to style your hair, make yourself look great. Alright, and then I want you to tell me, to write around the outside, what do you think that Jesus sees when he looks at you? Last week we spoke about those things that make us really special. Like, I'm a good listener, and I'm a hard worker, and I'm a good friend. But this week I want you to focus on those gifts and those talents, those things that you're really good at. So are you a good footballer? Are you really good at maths? Are you really good at dancing? Are you really good at singing? Are you good at telling jokes? What I'd like you to do this week is to, around the outside of you, I'd like you to write what you think Jesus sees when he looks at you. And then at the bottom, you'll see there's room for your name. And it says, my name is, you write your name there. So for example, if I was doing this, I'd put, my name is Chris. And do we see what it says underneath? And Jesus loves me. See, the idea of inclusion for this week is that Jesus loves each and every one of us and wants us to be part of his kingdom and his family. So when he looks at us, he doesn't see the things that we might not like about ourselves. He doesn't see the mistakes we might make. He doesn't see the times where we misbehave or the times where we say something we didn't mean. What he sees is that we're nice people, we're good people. We can tell a joke, we can play football, we can sing, we can dance, we can draw. So take your sheet of paper, draw yourself and tell me, and tell each other, what do you think Jesus sees when he looks at you? I'm Chris, the High Peak Chaplain. God bless.